It's 8:29. It's 8:30.
The living entities in this conditioned world are my internal fragmental parts. Due to condition like they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. The living entity is after all part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit, Krishna. In other words, Krishna's constitutional position and the living entity's constitutional position are the same qualitatively. The only difference is that living entity is eternally an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. Mamevamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. In this material world of conditioned life, the fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord the individual soul, is struggling due to his contaminated mind and consciousness. As part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, a living entity is supposed to think of Krishna. But here we see that King Puranjan, the living entity, is thinking of a woman. Such mental absorption with some sense object brings about the living entity's struggle for existence in this material world. Since King Puranjan is thinking of his wife, his struggle for existence in the material world will not be ended by death. As revealed in the following verses, King Puranjan had to accept the body of a woman in his next life due to his being overly absorbed in thoughts of his wife. Thus, mental absorption in social, political, pseudo-religious, national and communal consciousness is cause for bondage. During one's lifetime, one has to change his activities in order to attain release from bondage. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 3.9. Yajnanart karmano yatra nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. If we do not change our consciousness in this life, whatever we do in the name of social, political, religious or communal and national welfare will be the cause of our bondage. This means we have to continue in material conditional life. As explained in Bhagavad Gita 15.7, Manashashtan indriyani prakritistani karshati. When the mind and senses are engaged in material activities, one has to continue his material existence and struggle to attain happiness. In each and every life, one is engaged in the struggle to become happy. Actually, no one in this material world is happy, but the struggle gives a false sense of happiness. A person must work very hard, and when he attains the result of his hard work, he thinks himself happy. In the material world, people do not know what real happiness is. Sukham atyantikam yattat buddhigraham atindriyam. Real happiness must be appreciated by one's transcendental senses. Unless one is purified, the transcendental senses are not manifest. Therefore, to purify the senses, one must take to Krishna consciousness and engage the senses in the service of the Lord. Then there is real happiness and liberation. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 15.8, Shariram yad avapnoti yachapi utakramatisvaraha grihit vaitani samyati vayurgandhani vashayat. The living entity in the material world carries his different conception of life from one body to another as the air carries aromas. If the wind passes over a garden of roses, it will carry the aroma of roses. And if it passes over a filthy place, it will carry the stench of obnoxious things. Similarly, King Puranjan, the living entity, now passes the air of his life over his wife, a woman. Therefore, he has to accept the body of a woman in his next life. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Namaum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurasve Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपः तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणम्। Hare Krishna. So, before I start, I seek the blessings of His Grace Anandamaya Prabhu and all the assembled Vaishnavas, so that I can glorify the Supreme Lord for the purification of my heart. So, in this particular section, where King Puranjan is the time of death, and he is remembering whom he is most attached to. And as clearly it is being mentioned in the past few verses, how he is attached to his wife and he is continuously thinking about his wife and her activities. So very clearly it's being mentioned how he is feeling separation from her and remembering all her past activities, and he is worried that what will happen after his death, who will take care, all these things. So, and as Prabhupada is mentioning, because he is so much attached and absorbed in thinking of her, he will get a body of a woman in the next life. So, actually how a person or what a person identifies with, that's what he starts thinking. So his consciousness will be absorbed in that identity. So, as Prabhupada is mentioning, people identify themselves with various causes, various identities. First of all, people identify themselves with this body and everything in relation with this body. Aham mameti, I am this body, everything in relation with this body is mine. So, because we identify strongly with this body, we start thinking about this body a lot and how to satisfy with this body in various forms. And when we identify ourselves with some state or certain caste, certain city, we start thinking about those things or in relation to those things, right? So we can see that how our attachment is quite strong. Anything which comes in relation to them, we immediately become alert. Okay, even related to our body, or like somebody calls our name immediately, or somebody tells about our city. Kya ho gaya? Or suppose somebody tells bad about our state. Kya bola? Immediately we become angry, right? And we see that people get affected by their identity with the nation. If their nation, like India, wins, then people celebrate. When we see that India loses, then people are sad, morose, because their identification with that is so strong. So they cannot, they get completely absorbed with that identity, that I am Indian. So because of that identification, they get affected, right? So, but these are all temporary identifications. This is not our true identity. We have come to this material world to enjoy, take up false identities. We left our original identity, as Prabhupada is mentioning, the first thing in his purport. What is our original identity? Mamaivamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. This is our actually original identity. Forgetting this identity, we are getting absorbed in all others illusory identities of this material world. So that is a problem. So if we can give up these false identities and absorb ourselves in the true identity, then we'll be saved. Okay, then we'll be protected. So actually, why we get absorbed in these false identities? First thing is we left Krishna and we want to enjoy on our own. We think that that will give me much more happiness. Okay, the false identities will give me much more happiness, right? So that because of that we get absorbed in this false identities, right? And we are actually not convinced about the true identity that is also there. So first of all we should understand that this false identities or all this social, political, religious, all this as Prabhupada is mentioning, they are all temporary and illusory. That will never give me happiness. And whereas the original identity only can make me happy forever. So here as Puranjan is, we see that how he became attached to his wife, right? Same way living entities in this material world become attached to various things in this world. Actually they feel that actually the love or service which they are receiving, they feel that that is going to satisfy them. So for example, people think that in this material world, people think like a boy is attracted to girl or girl is attracted to boy, and they think that this is true love. But actually we see that this is all filled with material motives, selfishness, right? Like a boy is attracted to some girl, but actually why is he attracted? Because maybe the girl is young, beautiful. But if the girl becomes old, wrinkled, tooth is lost, white hair, right? Then there is no love, right? Same way the boy, if he becomes old and no money, nothing, not handsome, then there is no love. So that's why Prabhupada said there is no love in this material world. It is only lust. Lust for the body and the facilities in relation with the body. So that's why love of this world is temporary and illusory. It's temporary because even if somebody says I love someone, but how long, right? It's only for some time, right? With this life it is ended, right? And it only binds a person in this material world, and again he has to suffer. So the living entity has this need to love and serve, that cannot be denied. So that same desire to love and serve has to be engaged with someone else, that is Krishna, because that is our original identity and constitutional position. So, but for a living entity who is conditioned, how will he love, serve and Krishna? Actually, like a child, why he feels attached to his parents is because he feels the love and affection and the service of his parents, right? He feels, oh, they love me so much. So naturally he also feels that he should reciprocate with their love and service. So same way the living entity, unless he feels the love and service of Krishna, the affection of Krishna, he will not like to reciprocate with Krishna. Okay? So actually Krishna explains about himself so much in Bhagavad Gita and how he is showing his love and affection for the living entities in so many verses. So we have to first of all have faith in Krishna and his words and then we should also have faith in these words, in these verses which Krishna is explaining. So when we realize Krishna's love for all of us, then we will actually identify with him and we also would like to reciprocate with his love and service. So Krishna in so many sections of Bhagavad Gita, he mentions how He is showering His mercy upon all the living entities. So in the 7th chapter, he mentions, actually the whole Bhagavad Gita, like one devotee was telling, it's a love letter of the Lord for the living entities. So the living entities forgot His love for the conditioned soul. The living entities forgot their love for the Supreme Lord. So in this, when they start reading this Bhagavad Gita, then they will realize that how Lord is so much showing His mercy and love for all of us, and how we need to reciprocate. So he says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi sashishurya pranava sarva vedeshu shabdaike paurusham nashu. So he is saying, I am the taste in water, the light of sun and moon. So actually, when we read these verses, we should not just, okay, I know these verses, or I know what Krishna said. But actually we should contemplate Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. See how we can apply in our own life. We have to understand, just like suppose morning you get up and there is no water, right? Neither for drinking nor for bathing, suppose. Then we will understand that, oh, my Lord, we'll remember our Lord. Right? So, but because we get it just like that, in the sense we feel, of course I deserve all this, or we don't actually remember that it's Lord's causeless mercy that we are receiving this, right? Same way sunlight or moonlight, right? Lord is freely sending His electricity or light, right? If Prabhupada says, if only Lord gives bills for all what He is providing, then we will faint, right? Because He is so providing so much free of cost, right? So that's why Srimad Bhagavatam says that those living entities who are not grateful to Lord, they are thieves and rogues. Very strongly Bhagavatam mentions. Why? Why it is so strongly saying that they are thieves and rogues? Because what thieves, what they do? They steal the property of the owner and they enjoy for themselves. Same way the living entities are taking the property of God, thinking that we are the owners of this, and they are trying to enjoy independently. Actually nothing belongs to us. It's not that sunlight, water, all this are meant for my service. No. They are meant for Krishna's service. They are belonging to Krishna. Right? Actually everything belongs to Krishna. Our body, our mind, even the soul belongs to Krishna. Right? Mamaya Mamsho Jiva Loka Jiva. So they are soul is part and parcel of Krishna. Right? So nothing belongs to us. Right? So because it belongs to Krishna and we are trying to enjoy for our own sense gratification, that's why we are thieves and rogues, the Bhagavatam is mentioning. So then Krishna is telling, Punya Gandha Prithviyamsha. I am the original fragrance of the earth. Tejas Chasmi Vasudev. I am the heat in fire. So, like we see that in earth, like today devotees have brought so many plants, so many flowers. So when we plant various seeds or those particular plants, we see that earth in itself, in the sense, if you smell, sometimes there is nothing much. But when you plant those things, Krishna mentions that Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam. I am the seed giving father for, I am the original seed of all the living entities. So, because Krishna is giving this, all this, so Krishna created these wonderful plants or seeds. So when we put in the earth, then we see that so many varieties of colors and fragrances come out. If you open earth, there is only black or red color. If you dig so much also, there is not multiple colors, right? Right? And smell also may be little bit, same color, same smell only. But combination of that seeds and earth, produces so many colors and so many smells, varieties. Right? This is Krishna's Achintya Shakti, inconceivable potencies of the Lord. So when we see all that in nature, actually that should make us attracted to Krishna, not nature. Generally, people get attracted by nature. Oh, what a beautiful scene. Huh? Right? How nice color this is, or nice smell this is. But actually, yadyad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad Urjitameva Tattadeva Gachatvam Mama Tejo Amsa Sambhavam. That's what Krishna is telling here also. Balam Balavatam Chaham Kama Raga Vivarjitam. So I am the strength of the strong. So here he tells Buddhir Muddhimatan Chaham. I am the intelligence of the intelligence. So whenever you see any opulence in this world, immediately it should remind us of Krishna. Why? Because this is coming from Krishna. That's why it is opulent. It's not that it is independently opulent. Right? So that way it can help us to be Krishna conscious. Not only the opulences of others, but even my own opulences, whatever I have, actually they are also because of Krishna. Devoid of Krishna, neither me or anybody can have any of the opulences. Right? So in this way, we will become Krishna conscious if we learn to see everything in relation with Krishna. Okay? And then Krishna again tells in the 9th chapter also, Aham kratur aham yagna swadhaham aham aushadam mantroham aham evajam aham agnin aham hutam. But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. Then he is saying, Pitaham asya jagato mata data pitamaha Vedyam pavitram omkara rikshama yajurevacha. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, the syllable om. I am also the rig, the sama, yajur vedas. Right? So we all have parents, but the original parent is Krishna. Actually, he is the one who gave us parents also. Right? It is Krishna's love and compassion that although we left him, he has arranged some parents to take care of us. Right? So we should definitely be grateful and show respect to our parents, but also we should not forget the original parent who arranged our parents, temporary parents, right? So, because we think that these are the ones who arranged everything for us, but it is Krishna who is arranging everything through them, right? Whatever facilities or the ability to show and love and affection, service, everything is being given by Krishna ultimately. That's why Krishna also is telling, Matta parataram nanyan kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protram sutre maniganaya. Right? So, just like in a pearl necklace, nobody may appreciate the thread, but it is the main thing which is actually keeping all of them together. So, Krishna is actually behind everything, who is arranging all this. So when we actually see all the things in this world, we should understand that there is Krishna behind all this, and through all this he is showing his love and affection. So Krishna may not come directly, okay, but he sends his devotees, or by various ways and means he shows his love and affection. So I frequently tell the story of person who was on the banks of a river, and he was warned that very soon there will be flood. But he said that no, don't worry, God will come and protect me. So but very soon once floods start coming and people warning that you better leave this place. But he says no need. Later, finally, when the flood starts increasing and finally one boat comes, saying that this is the last chance. He says no. Finally, he starts droning. That time he starts calling Lord. But then God comes in the form of sound. And he says that, see, I have been sending my help through various people, but you never accepted it. Right? So the lesson is that it's not that Krishna has to come directly and say that, no, oh my dear devotee, hey Vatsa, I am here. It's not that he has to come. No, he can send his love and affection through his devotees or various ways and means, through nature. So a devotee has to develop that vision by which he can understand Krishna's love and affection for him. Right? So much which he is providing. So in this section also, 9th chapter, Krishna mentions so many aspects of how he is a source of many things and how he is showing his love and affection. Again in 15th chapter, again he mentions how he is the fire in the he is the fire because of in the stomach, because of which the digestion actually happens. And sarvasya jaham hridi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. He appears in the heart as super soul. See how Krishna is so kind. Although we left him, he has not left us. He is still like a loving father. He is still accompanying us. Prahlad Maharaj says that he is the most intimate for the living entity. Why he is the most intimate? Because he is just next to the soul. Soul is here, super soul is just beside. So there is no one more intimate than the Lord. And also, as the Upanishads mention, that the living entity is busy in eating the fruits of the tree. It means he is busy in doing fruitive activities and doing sense gratification. He never turns his face towards Krishna. Right? Although he is just beside and providing everything. Just imagine that somebody is providing everything for you and you are not even aware of his existence. Like people are so much absorbed in sense gratification, right? They are not even aware of his existence. Like somebody is providing everything and suppose you are providing something for someone and they are not even aware of your existence. Like, means how we feel generally. Generally we provide or help someone if they recognize and they thank us, or at least they know that we exist. But living entities are so much absorbed in sense gratification, they don't even recognize that Lord is existing just beside them. And the living entity is so much absorbed in sense gratification, completely disobeying God. Still, Krishna is so kind, he is providing, fulfilling the desires of the living entity. Like generally, we see that citizens who disobey the state, they are put in jail and given so much trouble. Yeah, the material world is also like that. But still, even in this jail, Krishna is providing so many facilities for all of us. Not only in the human form of life, but even, Prabhupada says, if somebody becomes a worm in the stool, just try to understand how horrible that life is. But still Krishna is willing to become super soul even in that body. Krishna is not saying, oh, this horrible body, okay, I have to be there in that body also, super soul. As such, Krishna is not affected by that, but point is, right, Krishna is still so kind that he is still accompanying that worm in stool and still guiding him how to do his sense gratification. Yeah, because the living entity desires and then Krishna has to sanction, right? So, but still, in that also Krishna is sanctioning the desires and all, So, means we should understand that to what extent Krishna is extending. To what extent Krishna is extending himself for our sake. Right? But we are so ignorant even in this human form of life, even after becoming devotees, how much we actually remember him, or how much we actually are grateful for what he is giving, right? So we are so much dependent on the Lord. Like as I mentioned, for without water we can't sustain, without air. If you want to understand how much we are dependent on Krishna, right? Just close your nose for a few minutes, right? Without air, finish, right? Within few seconds or minutes we will die, right? So much we are helplessly dependent on Krishna, right? So during COVID also people realized how much valuable is oxygen or air, right? So, so Krishna is so kind, is such a kind father that he is always, giving, giving and giving, and also forgiving, right? But we are only getting, but forgetting. That is our situation. We are forgetting the Lord, right? So we have to transform our consciousness, remove these false identities, false absorption. Because you falsely identify with this body and false designations, you are falsely absorbed in those material things, material sense objects, right? So we should identify with our true identity, and we should understand that only Krishna loves me eternally and selflessly. Okay? Because as I said, all material love is selfish. Although Prabhupada says that in this material world, mother's love to some degree is selfless, right? But true love exists only in spiritual world. When the eternal loving relationship between Krishna and his devotees. So we should be very careful while practicing Krishna consciousness. We see the example of Bharat Maharaj, how while practicing he becomes distracted and he starts thinking of the deer, how it is he is worried about its maintenance, whether it is being protected, all these things. And then because slowly, gradually he becomes so much attached to the deer becomes dear to him. So because of that, we see that at the time of death, when he falls in that ditch and gets hurt and about to die, he is completely absorbed thinking about the deer. So that's why we see that next life he becomes a deer, right? So same way, a devotee, while practicing Krishna consciousness, we should be very, very careful not to allow Maya to enter the consciousness. Because Maya enters like needle, comes out like a plow. There is a story of camel and sheikh. So camel, once they were in desert, so this sheikh, there is winter and heavy cold. So the sheikh sleeps in the tent. So the camel approaches the sheikh and saying that, no, it's very cold, no, please give me a little space. No, I'm feeling very cold here. So the sheikh feels little compassion and he allows little bit. So like that, slowly the camel, starts entering, and finally he kicks him out of the tent. And the sheikh is shaking in cold. And sees that, I was supposed to be in the tent, but no, camel has come out. So same way Maya enters little bit in our consciousness. Maya says that, no, you should, no, Maya tells this much is okay. Little bit is okay, Maya. Little bit sense gratification is also okay. We think, okay, fine. So like that, then slowly Maya enters and completely takes away our consciousness, right? So that's how we get distracted. So devotees have to be very, very careful. So We also see here like Puranjan becoming woman. Even in ISKCON we hear the story of that brahmachari Raghav Pandit Prabhu, who was Prabhupada's disciple, but then he was attached to one Mataji, and next life he becomes Ratnavali, and he tells his own story how he became attached and how because of that attachment he became a woman, right? So we should be very careful because although externally we may be engaged in devotional activities, but where is our absorption? Where is our mind? Because we are where our mind is, right? That's where we get absorbed, right? That's where we become attached, right? But where our mind gets absorbed means where we are attached to, but where we receive pleasure, right? Where we receive pleasure, that's where our mind is, right? Where we receive happiness. So that's what we become attached to. So where are we receiving our pleasure from? That's what we have to see. Are we receiving pleasure from name, fame, recognition, or something else? So actually we should take pleasure in our eternal relationship with Krishna. Because actually Krishna is, as I said, he is our true friend, true well-wisher, Suhrut, Bhoktaram Ignatapasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Right? Why is our best friend well-wisher? Because he always accompanies us. No one else can accompany us forever. No one can be eternal well-wisher like Krishna. So that's why we should, as I mentioned in this verses from Bhagavad Gita, so we should contemplate and try to understand that how Krishna is continuously showering his love and affection, right? First I should realize that, and his love is really unmotivated and uninterrupted, because all other temporary, illusory, false love of this world is motivated and also so many interruptions. Right? Ultimately ends with life. So when we realize this, then we'll develop that affection for Krishna. So that's why Sarva Upadi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Krishikena Krishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruchyate. We should give up all these false designations and engage our senses in Krishna's service. So as last time I was telling that how to evaluate whether I am becoming attached to Krishna. Because we have to evaluate. We may think, oh, I am also becoming attached. No. So there is a daily test, there is a surprise test, and there is a ultimate test. Daily test is chanting. So how much we are taking shelter of Krishna in chanting? Is our mind absorbed, or is mind going all over the world or completely distracted? That is daily test. So chanting is the litmus test for our advancement. So because in daily test only we are failing, where is the question of ultimate test passing? Right? If daily test only student is failing, then where is the question of passing in ultimate test? Right? And surprise test means some difficulties, tough situations, suddenly some difficulty comes, whose shelter we take? Whose shelter are we taking? Are we taking shelter of Krishna or something else, someone else? And ultimate test obviously is death. So that's why life is a preparation, death is a examination. So a student has to prepare every day, very seriously. Then only he can pass the ultimate test. So that determines how much we are actually Krishna conscious. So a devotee has to sincerely introspect. Where is my consciousness? Whose shelter am I taking? What I am attached to? Why I am attached to? Right? So all this should be seen carefully. Like a gardener very carefully removing the weeds. Right? Like we have so many nice plants here. Right? But there is unnecessary grass, we have to remove it, not required. right? So same way, there are unnecessary weeds in our consciousness. What are those unnecessary weeds? Controllership, enjoyership, proprietorship. All these are unnecessary weeds. Pluck it out, throw it away, and develop divine consciousness, servant of servant, right? So we can very much see that actually many times we don't take shelter of Krishna, either daily or those tough situations. Quite our mind is distracted, right? Because we are not attached to Krishna. If you are attached to Krishna, you will take shelter of Krishna, no? We are not attached to Krishna. Clearly it shows, not maybe. Clearly it shows that we are not attached to Krishna. We are attached to some extent. I am not saying we are not attached, but we are not so much attached, right? We have so many other attachments in this material world. So then realizing that I have not developed sufficient attachment to Krishna, so we should hear and read the glories of Krishna more and more. Then you develop attachment to Krishna, then your mind will be absorbed in Krishna while chanting or any other activities. So we should think that, oh, I am so unfortunate that although I have been given this opportunity to engage in devotional service, still I am not becoming attached to Krishna. What is the problem? Why it is like that? So when you ask yourself that question and think deeply, then you get the answers, because Prabhupada already is giving the answers, right? So we have to sincerely put endeavors in this direction, okay? So, and make efforts to develop our attachment to Krishna. Then and then only, at the time of death, anta kale cha mameva smaran mukta kalevram. So we will be able to remember Krishna and His mercy for us, right, for all of us. So that is what Prabhupada is trying to tell here, that we should understand that all these false designations are never going to satisfy us. This is all temporary and illusory, and our true identity is that I am spirit, soul, part and parcel of Krishna, and only acting in the true identity will satisfy you forever. Okay? Because the heart is actually hankering for that true pleasure, true satisfaction. And only when you get that true satisfaction by serving Savai Pumsham Paro Dharmo, Eto Bhaktir Adokshaje Ahaituki Apratihata E Atma Suprasidhuti. So only when you do this service in this way, Ahaituki Aprati, then you will be satisfied. Otherwise, dissatisfaction. So even while rendering devotional service, we have to endeavor to do like that. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Anybody has any questions? Any comments?
We are trying our best, but still we see that we are getting failed in our daily tests, including chanting and also we are not in the competition. So what other things can we do to get?
Yeah, so as when we talk about hearing and reading, as the scriptures mention, Shravanam Mananam Nididhyasanam. Actually, when we read or hear also, how we are reading, hearing is also important. What is the end result of that? Because sometimes we ritualistically read here. Okay, Radheshampuru told, so okay, you should sit for 2 hours. Somehow we'll complete this. Then I have so many other things to do. Yeah, other things also we have to do, but the 2 hours, whether we really absorb ourselves. So, dharma swanishtita pumsham rishakshena katashed notpade dediratim Shramaya Kevalam. So after reading that how much you developed attachment to Krishna, how much you are applying what you read. Right? Many times we read, but after reading, okay, we may remember some points, but then we may be not applying them also. And also, we may not be so much becoming Krishna conscious or attached to Krishna. So the end result of hearing, reading is also important. No, it's not, okay, then he's put off, he's busy with other things now. Either internally is put off or even externally he may start doing other things. Right? Internally he's thinking of something else. Right? Because he feels that I know already. There is nothing new in this. Right? So, but a devotee who is truly taking shelter of Krishna, Maharaj was telling, he should actually feel this pastime in the sense and see that how it is also related to me. He was telling that just like the cowherd boys were in that fire, same way we are all in the fire of material existence. We are surrounded by the fire of material existence, threefold miseries and so many. We are also suffering in material world just like them. So our only shelter is Krishna. So internally Maharaj was telling we should be taking shelter of Krishna. Krishna, I am also actually in same situation. You are my only shelter. So internally taking shelter of Krishna, in that way while hearing that is actually hearing Maharaj was telling. So I was shocked because generally we just hear and we only see in terms of our knowledge. Oh, I know this, I don't know this. Okay, finish, next, what is there? So that's why even while reading generally we are put off. Why? Because we feel I know this same thing Prabhupada is telling, what is there, something new. Generally when something is new we are excited. Otherwise we are dull, right? Thinking of something else. But actually even when you read something what you know or hear, are we applying it? Even if you hear that I am soul, I am not this body. This is the most basic thing which you might have heard in first day. But are we really applying it at every step? No. The moment we are out of this class or something, even while class we may not be conscious of it, what to speak of other time, right? So that means like a student who fails in applying something, right? He has to again, suppose a student who fails in the exam, what he has to do? He has to again study. We see that we again fail in applying the concepts. Yeah, if you see, we fail again in applying the concepts in practical situations. So philosophy is theory, but in practical situations, in our life, daily situations, that is actually practicals. Are you really applying that philosophy at every step? No, we are not applying. So that means we have actually failed to apply it. So that means I have to again hear, I have to again take shelter of Krishna. We have to pray to Krishna. Krishna, although this is the most basic thing, I am so miserably failing. I am so bodily conscious. Right? So please protect me. So then you are Krishna conscious. So even while hearing, reading, are you taking shelter of Krishna or are you worried about something else? So where is your mind? That is where your shelter is. So that's the point. So because, as I said, dharma sunistapam swam, so that's the problem. Although externally we may be doing the activities, but where is your shelter? Right? That determines your advancement. So that's why no attachment to Krishna. Simple. Right? But on the other hand, if somebody may read little bit only, but he is really taking shelter of Krishna, contemplating and really trying to endeavor to be Krishna conscious, he may be even better situated. Right? So, yeah, but definitely we should read sufficiently so that we can remember all this. Like that. Okay? Is Anand would like to add something?
Roji is always taking shelter of Krishna Prabhupada. So we'll end here. Thank you very much. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, सामवेद गौर भक्तम की जय.